Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from. Good day to you all. It is Sunday. We're the Brunch Buster Brothers. There it is. That's that tongue twister. I'm in great form already. I'm Bobby Munson, and that man beside me, Chris Parrish. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing pretty good. Watched a pretty good show last night and had a good time doing it with a bunch of our OLE members. So that was a good time. How are you doing?
Real good. And yeah, like you mentioned, it kind of felt like a good old time around the pub table last night, watching with friends as we tuned into Survivor Series War Games. I believe it was the title of that one.
Yeah, and good on Triple H for tweeting out that it's just not the same with William Regal. I thought that was a really classy move, understanding just how integral William Regal's War Games yell was. So I thought that was really, really cool of him to do.
It really was cool of him to do. And you know what is really cool is when people can join us here in the morning so that they can find out all about our good friends at Rogue Energy. And speaking of friends, as you see, Turnbuckle Studios, our good friend Carl Carafell joining us this morning. Carl, how you feeling this morning, man? I bet you're feeling nice and awake because you woke up, you looked beside you, you found some Rogue Energy, and you stuck back on, and it got you pumped up. Rogue Energy is the alternative to the everyday average energy drink that you find in the stores. You can buy this stuff. It is vegan friendly, low calorie, zero sugar. This is the healthier way to go if you're looking for an energy drink alternative. Visit our friends at rogueenergy.com using the promo code OLEPODS for 10% off your order, or else you can click that QR code that you'll see right under Mr. Parrish over there on the side. It'll take you right to the site. Place your order. OLE Pods, 10% comes off of there. Give us a good old thank you afterwards because you'll be blessed once you find out just how awesome the flavors of Rogue Energy are.
Yeah, and if you're a U.S. Citizen, you are able to get their cans shipped to you. They're only U.S. Shippable right now. Hopefully that changes for us Canadians. But yes, you'll be able to appreciate their product in a liquid form in the sense of a non-tub related product. And if you're kind of curious what they have in their tubs, we do have a little video to showcase you not only some of the flavors, but also just show you that there's a magnitude amount of flavor. So check this video out from our sponsors over at Rogue Energy.
Damn, that's a cool video. If you aren't sold on Rogue Energy after that, I don't know what will sell you. But they got someone sold, and that's our good friend Andre, that Canada dude, Bunch Busters. I love Rogue Energy. About to drink some. Yeah, that's right, man. Get your day started off right with some Rogue Energy. That's what's up. And what's up, boys, from Bastard69? How about that, Sami Zayn? I think we're gonna be talking about Sami. I'm pretty sure that he's gonna take a good portion of this Sunday talk show here.
Well, speaking about going rogue, Kevin Owens wanted Sami Zayn to go rogue last night at Survivor Series, and the one thing Sami Zayn did do was show that he was willing to go loyal to the bloodline and stayed true to his word that last night he was there for the bloodline, as he was very integral in the bloodline win at War Games last night.
Yeah, he really was. That was the story that was being told, the story that was unfolding. As we saw at one point, we thought that it was going to actually be Jimmy Uso joining his brother Jay inside the War Games matchup. And instead, the tribal chief had something to say about that. He wanted Sami to go in there first to prove said loyalty. And while some animosity still existed throughout this match, all doubts were put to rest by the time this thing wrapped up.
Yeah, and I thought just the order of entry was pretty interesting. And for the first time, we saw the bloodline not with the man advantage, as Drew McIntyre and Sheamus on SmackDown defeated the Usos to gain that man advantage for War Games. So we saw the Jey Uso start the match, with Butch. And then we saw Sami Zayn be the next guy in, as you said, was appointed by the tribal chief to go in and help Jey, which I thought was absolutely amazing, just to continue that story between not only the two, that this was a time now they were forced to work with each other and not work against each other for the greater good that was the bloodline. I just thought the storytelling in this match was prime example that when WWE wants to take it to that next level and just show dominance in North American professional wrestling, they very well can. I thought that match was absolutely beautiful from a storytelling aspect.
Definitely from the storytelling aspect, this one hit on all the marks. If I'm going to split hairs about the match itself, again, it's from exhaustion of doubled up matches of the same caliber with similar spots. Again, the weapons inside both of the War Chambers matchups within a barely just over 3-hour pay-per-view that you get two of the exact same contests on the exact same show. For me, it gives a little bit of a burnout, which distracts from it. But if it weren't for that storytelling that was so beautifully done in this one, I think it wouldn't have been as much of a standout. But because of that, this thing stood out like a sore thumb in the end.
Yeah, and speaking of standouts, we got Bazzer69 coming in saying Ridge Holland got to showcase himself last night too. This guy is a tank. And yeah, speaking of standout, he definitely stood out and has been standing out for the last little while. One of the first members of NXT 2.0 to move up to the main roster. And with the Brawling Brutes, he's not only found a niche, but very much a comfort level. I don't think a lot of people expected him and Bush to be so good together. I don't think a lot of people expected him and Sheamus to be so good together, but for whatever reason, this trio just absolutely works. As we get Canadian dude, time to dishes. I'm now fueled by Rogue Energy. Hell yeah. And make sure you get OLE pods so your pockets remain dished as well. You got to save that 10%, man. And they also have plenty of other codes right now. We did not mention that during the Black Friday special, heading into the Cyber Monday. So make sure that you're checking all that out. But Ridge Holland, man, like that guy's just been on fire lately. But gotta always go back to the storytelling. That wasn't just the only storytelling aspect we saw from Sami Zayn. We saw Sami Zayn hold and interfere in the count by the referee when we saw a stunner by Kevin Owens to pin Roman Reigns to win the match. He actually grabbed the arm of the referee to prevent that 3 count, that stare down between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, which led to not only him having a confrontation with KO later in the match, but then when I believe it was Jimmy Uso went to throw a super kick, it was Sami Zayn that went low on Kevin Owens, followed by a Naluva kick, only to allow Jay to get the splash and the win. So he played a very integral part, very important role for not only Roman Reigns, but the entire bloodline, solidifying loyalty, which I loved from a long-term standpoint, because when you had to prove your colors because of the conversation that he had with Kevin Owens, where he lied to, and we're not talking about the segments yet, and I'll kind of allow you to do that. My God, there's a lot to take in, but holy man, did they cover every little detail in this match.
Yeah, and then we saw after it was all said and done there that the tribal chief embracing Sami Zayn in a big old hug. And Papa Smokes is in the house. No, hold on, that's Papa Smokes is in the house. How you doing, Papa Smokes? Glad to see you joining us here this morning. But yeah, I mean, Sammy Sammy was a standout last night with his performances, with the way he portrays himself in there. He's been killing it as of late, just really getting over. We heard everybody chanting Sammy Uso consistently through this entire matchup, but just the way he dives in right at the last second to grab that arm, the look between him and Owens, and then him, allowing Jay. He gets that embrace from Roman Reigns, and then afterwards he gets the same kind of feedback from both Usos, including Jay, almost burying any belief that there is animosity between them. But yet still, in the back of your mind that something is going to happen eventually, whether it happens this Friday, whether it happens sometime soon, like they're building for something further down the road. There's a story starting to unravel here. And there's definitely a story starting to kind of come back to the forefront with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and their long-term friendship. So a lot of stuff being told within this particular matchup, this War Games matchup. We're seeing a lot of development there. A lot of this stuff maybe is a slow build towards WrestleMania. Maybe there are plans in place and they want to start fleshing out these stories earlier as we head into the Royal Rumble, into the new year, and getting prepared for WrestleMania time, because they've got a big task on their hand to pull off a 2-day WrestleMania that's going to be looked at heavily because of this being Triple H's first involvement with it and not so much Vince McMahon's involvement.
Yeah, and what I love too is that we got a little bit of answers in kind of where does Sami Zayn lie, but we also have the potential of, if Sami Zayn is to follow suit to KO's words from SmackDown, and those were take the first shot before they get it at you, you won't see it coming. Yeah. He has now earned all the trust from every single members. We saw the embrace from Jimmy to Sammy, which I thought was gigantic. We saw the embrace from Roman, the acceptance. One of the last images we saw was that honorary Uso shirt not on the chest, not on the shoulders of Sami Zayn. So will we see an actual bloodline shirt being handed from Roman Reigns to Sami Zayn? Maybe there is an introduction to the bloodline officially for Sami Zayn. He has upgraded from the honorary Uso. So we will see. I think that makes a great addition of SmackDown. But also, if by chance we are to see Sami Zayn turn, it'll be 100% unexpected now because of this, despite the fact we're talking about it. But also, I do want to point out that it's also being rumored right now that the main event to Royal Rumble, in terms of a non-Royal Rumble match, will be Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens for the WWE Universal Heavyweight Championship. So just if that's the case, your thoughts on that and perhaps the development of this whole story leading into the Royal Rumble.
Well, see, now it makes you wonder, would they pull the trigger on a Kevin Owens title run? Would they have Sami Zayn accidentally, inadvertently cost the tribal chief after all this time, leading to Kevin Owens holding that belt? Because again, if the rumors are true about The Rock and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, people keep wondering, how do you take the belt off Roman? Because they can't foresee Roman and The Rock for the championship, especially knowing that The Rock is not going to stick around long term. So it kind of takes away the aura of whether or not Rock or Roman would come out victorious. So if you need a way to get the belt off him, you started putting the pieces in place right now to have Sami cost something like that, and then you could have them turn on Sami Zayn in the process, rekindling that friendship. But I mean, we could go the other direction too. Sami Zayn could be the reason that Roman Reigns remains the champion after the Royal Rumble, showing his loyalty once again. And then I could also see a segment coming up down the road, like you said. Is he going to be handed that shirt, that full Uso shirt? He's full Uso at this point. And when they do, that's when they get him. Just when he least suspects it, Sammy's guard is down, and then the bloodline turns on him. Again, I can't see any other way that you don't put Sami out as the babyface in this thing, because all of last night, that entire audience was behind Sami Zayn. Everybody is getting behind him. He's not even Sami Zayn anymore. He's Sami Uso, and he couldn't be any more over with this particular wrestling crowd than what he is right now.
Yeah, and it just shows you how important Sami Zayn's involvement in not only the bloodline, but with all the other members really has been. He's shown a gigantic, what's the right word? He's shown a gigantic addition to not only the bloodline that I don't think a lot of people expected. We expected bloodline just to be the family oriented, but we also saw like how important Paul Heyman was with Roman Reigns when they started, and how important he was to kind of form this whole bloodline. But now we're seeing how complete it is with Sami Zayn, and it's just absolutely amazing. But at the end of the day, if this is to propel Sami Zayn from being maybe that side character or that, secondary member of a faction, he is now being looked at as the player, the guy. And it's an amazing thing to see, because Sami Zayn's getting his just due, and it's absolutely fantastic, because if there's one person that works his tail off and just absolutely hits a home run every time he's given an opportunity, I think that's Sami Zayn.
Yeah, I mean, he's been putting in the work, getting everything in, and really doing a great job. He's doing everything that he's been asked to do. I mean, look at what he was given last year at WrestleMania, and he made it something that people were talking about. Wow, love it or hate it, people were still talking about it the next day. So again, he has shown that he is a committed player when it comes to WWE. He's done everything they've wanted. He's even made people who weren't necessarily massive fans of him, from the past, have a complete 360. It would, now that he's showing exactly what he's capable of, not only in ring, but as a performer as well too. Sami Zayn is showing a lot of class when it comes to his acting ability, his selling ability, making you believe in what he's doing. It is really shining through, and that is why I believe that he is as over as he is currently, and it is going to be a big thing as long as they don't screw this up. And again, I don't think that Triple H will. It just, that old WWE thing where you get it in your brain that it's like when somebody starts to ride a little bit of a wave of popularity and they somehow manage to snuff it out a little too quick. I don't think that's going to be the case here. I think they understand the authenticity of what's going on, and I think that they're going to allow this to continue to build until Sami Zayn becomes a top player within the company.
Yeah, and as we kind of talk about War Games, I mean, it's hard not to talk about the only championship that changed hands, and that was the United States Championship as well, where Austin Theory pinned Seth Rollins to become a two-time United States champion. Ambassador 69 coming out with a comment. Triple H said after the show that Austin Theory had a low point a few weeks ago, but from here on, he will be walking on water. Is Theory the next John Cena? That's a really good question. Triple H did say in the press conference, which, by the way, AEW, take notes. That's how you do a press conference after. But he admitted, he said a few weeks ago, Austin Theory's career was more or less dead, and now he's walking on water. Absolutely an amazing 360 that Austin Theory had. Absolutely just an amazing performance. That triple threat, I think, blew our expectations out of the water. Your thoughts on Austin Theory right now, and the fact that he became two-time United States champion last night?
Well, first of all, I was overly impressed, and I'm going to say it right now. I'm not always a big fan of multi-man matches, triple threats, four-way dances, all this kind of stuff, because they tend to do the same old song and dance. Two guys get in, one guy gets dumped. We're supposed to believe that these guys who can kick out after, pile drivers on the hardest part of the apron suddenly are rolled outside of the ring for 10 to 15 minutes while two guys perform, and then they go and switch them out alternatively throughout the match until you get to the finish. But that wasn't the case last night. This triple threat match did not do that. The involvement of all three individuals was very prevalent throughout almost the entirety of the matchup. This was a very nice showing for Austin Theory, going against two former world champions, getting in there and actually getting his stuff in. This wasn't just chicken shit Theory trying to run from everything. He was a lot more aggressive. He looked like he belonged there. His ability in the ring for a guy his age, we've said it so many times before, is phenomenal. It is nothing short of phenomenal. And I thought this was one of the better, stronger triple threat matches I have seen in quite some time. And I'm glad Theory won it in the way he did. There was no real shenanigans to it or anything like that. I thought the way that they chose to finish this and have Theory go over was fantastic. I thought this match, honestly, on a night that was branded War Games, this was the best match of the entire evening.
When it comes down to your traditional wrestling match, I'm going to have to definitely agree with you. I thought this match was just absolutely amazing. And as Bazzer is saying, no more selfies. Yeah, in fact, he's all about the Beyblades now, as his new Titantron apparently had something to do with it, which I thought was great because they had an opportunity to kind of, throw one of the sponsors of the show out. They are, I think, in the midst of changing Austin Theory's Tron video. What a great opportunity just to kind of do that instead. If they didn't have anything and they know they wanted to change away from that video. I mean, it was so minute that it didn't really take away from anything. But at the end of the day, I thought Bobby Lashley was amazing in his role. I thought Seth Rollins did a great job of being that transitional champion, taking the championship off Bobby to put it on Austin Theory without it actually affecting how he's perceived or how that United States Championship is perceived. Every member in that match looked very good coming out of this match. But the one who stood the most to gain was the one who needed it the most, and that was Austin Theory. So I was very happy that was not only the direction that he went with, but the fact that he won the U.S. title in Boston, where in the past he's been linked to John Cena, who is from Boston, whose first championship in WWE was the U.S. Championship. I'm just seeing a little bit of parallels as we climb closer and closer to WrestleMania.
Definitely parallels for sure. And again, with those things being said, you got to wonder, is that match going to be on the cards? Are they going to bring John Cena in to work with somebody like Austin Theory? John Cena once had the open challenge for the U.S. title, and he kept, going out there and saying, like, I want this belt to be relevant. I want people to defend it like this week by week. And maybe that's the story going into a WrestleMania, is that John Cena comes back and, kind of pushes Theory, like, look, you're not out here defending it week to week like I was. You're not giving that title the same kind of treatment that I once did. You need to grow up, kid. You need to start putting in the work. You need to start, really challenging them to that, and then have them go out to WrestleMania with the thought that, probably Cena is going to go over. At least that's what they would have you think, but it could be a bait and switch where you go in there and Cena puts this young kid over and really does wonders for his career. A big win at WrestleMania for Austin Theory over at John Cena could escalate Theory to the moon.
Yeah. And just to kind of give you a perspective of what that could do. I mean, you got to go back in WrestleManias and see just how important it was for Daniel Bryan just to have that match with Triple H, or have that match, or have Seth Rollins have those matches with Triple H. Triple H in the past has been used as that, kind of figure to help elevate guys from one spot of the card to going to the next. We're seeing a lot of people kind of put in that position. We see Natty Neidhart get put in that position a lot of times in the female division. But we also see a lot of guys, say maybe Christian, for example, back in the day, as that guy as well. But the single fact that we're talking about a future WrestleMania that could have the likes of Stone Cold Steve Austin, John Cena, The Rock, and even Brock Lesnar, like all guys that we know from wrestling from 1996 to about 2006, are pretty amazing to say in 2023 that these guys could still be having a WrestleMania match. I think that's pretty amazing. And I think if Triple H just needed any more, here just to make it easier. Oh, here's this big name. Oh, and here's this big name. And here's this big name. And he's like, and I'm just going to sprinkle in, and we're going to make new stars by doing this. That's amazing. So I can't wait to see kind of what that goes, and if this is a match that we're going to see, how much this could do for Austin Theory now that he has embraced the more aggressive perspective.
Yeah, it's going to be curious to see how it goes. Again, a lot of build to go. Generally, I guess as we now head into Royal Rumble time, we're officially starting to go on that road to WrestleMania. So some of those things have to start being considered. And, building Austin Theory in this way, prepping that, you're building a new star, allowing, maybe some of the old blood to come in to really start putting over the guys. And that's what people were clamoring for in WWE for so long, is why aren't the older guys coming back to put over these young guys and make new stars? And if that's the case, if that's the direction they're going to go, and again, don't give it the treatment where, the young guy just really, mauls or completely destroys the legacy of some guy. If Theory and Cena go out there and work a fantastic matchup between each other, a real struggle between the two of them, and Theory comes up with a victory, just like last night. Again, it wasn't that he cheated to get his victory. The best part was he was about to be finished off until Bobby Lashley ended up doing the spear on Seth Rollins, which allowed Theory to drape himself just over top of Seth Rollins to win that championship. I thought such a beautifully done finish to that matchup, helped put Theory over, didn't make him look like a chump in the process either, and still made both the opponents look strong. Even Seth didn't look bad in taking the loss to Theory last night.
Yeah, and what I liked about this match is they took a lot of what we have come to expect from triple threat matches in WWE, and they not only teased them, but they also went away from that quote unquote mold that we know of triple threat matches in WWE. And they used a lot of bait and switches, which I thought was great, like absolutely great, just refreshing, I think was the proper way to describe it. But that's just it. Seth Rollins is about to go for his I think he did do about to go do that Falcon Arrow.
Yeah.
And as he picks him up for the Falcon Arrow, that's when Bobby Lashley spears him. And when Bobby Lashley spears you, he does the spear and then he rolls. And it just happened to be when he rolled out of the ring. And because he speared Rollins and not Theory just was able to cover because they still latched onto each other, got the win. And then the first thing they did was pan to the shock expression that Bobby Lashley had. So absolutely amazing. I can totally see them coming back to maybe a Bobby Lashley versus Austin Theory United States Championship match at the Rumble, which I would actually have no issues with, because I think it would be great to have Seth Rollins and maybe not Lashley or Theory even in the Rumble, because I think this year you have a lot of people in the Rumble where you give it to the people that don't have anything else going on, or maybe have, like a motive to be, in that main feud. I wouldn't be giving it to the guys that, like right now, like what does Bobby Lashley gain by going to the Rumble where he's not going to win?
Well, I mean, if you go in there and have them look strong, that can help out too. But again, what's your direction with them? Where are you taking them in terms of WrestleMania? That becomes the big question. Is it worth having them in there because you're going to build a story, or do you have him go into some sort of championship match, like you're saying, in order to give him something else in the meantime to work with? Again, chances are you're going to see Elimination Chamber come up in February. Somebody like a Bobby Lashley likely to be involved in the Elimination Chamber match at that show. And again, that's really where I guess the finale pieces of the road to WrestleMania are going to start to shine through, where we're going to find out who's going to be fighting who for which belts and what's going to be on the line come WrestleMania time.
Well, and that's just it, because usually what we've seen in the past is if you have a Royal Rumble winner and they have picked, and this year it's going to be very simple. You don't have to, like, as soon as the Rumble ends, for the men's side what champion they're going to go after. It's the female one where they get to choose their champion now. So it'll be very concrete on understanding, the winner goes on, faces the champion, most likely Roman Reigns, unless something extreme is to occur with that. But now we're seeing the Elimination Chamber maybe used more for a different role. Could we see it maybe for the United States Championship on the men's side instead of the WWE Championship? Could we see it for the tag team? Could we see it for the Intercontinental? Could we see it for something completely different? And I think that's something I'm now looking forward to see if there's, a misdirection of the expectation that I've had from the past.
Yeah, and that would actually make it a lot more interesting in a sense too, is changing that up. it gives a new dynamic to what they've been doing previously. And again, like you were saying, the fact that they, went out and tried to, bait us and switch us last night with a few different things could mean we get some of the same leading into the Royal Rumble and, again, leading into what we'll see next year. And, talking about those bait and switches as well, too, we can't forget that the same thing was done within the women's War Games matchup last night, where we thought we were going to get the typical Tower of Doom. That's what it's called, right? Tower of Doom. That's what they call that.
Tower of Doom, multi-person spot.
Yeah, 5 minutes of cooperation bullshit thing. Yeah, I get it. But they baited us thinking that we were going to get it again, and not the case, because I believe it was Nikki Cross that came in with the kendo stick at that time, whacking it in there and really breaking up the maneuver itself. So that was a nice touch that was done within the women's War Games matchup to bait and switch us last night as well, too. Make us think that you're going to go down the same old tropes that you've done for years and years, and then switch it up. I like that touch. That was one of my favorite touches in that particular match.
Yeah, and I know a lot of things that we were expecting with the women's match was that maybe Alexa Bliss was going to have a little bit more interaction with Bray Wyatt, Uncle Howdy, or those kind of, things going on, which I was actually surprised to see very little Bray Wyatt in that PLE, pay-per-view, whatever you want to call it. But the one thing you didn't really get to see a lot of either, and this is going to Bazzer 69's point, was Alexa Bliss. She seemed to be very invisible during the match. As he says, is it just me or did Alexa get lost in the shuffle on the women's War Games match? I don't remember many spots of hers or much of her besides standing with the winning team. Maybe I missed something, though.
No.
And yeah, you didn't, because I think that was definitely the case. I thought Alexa was very, what's the proper word? Invisible for the course of that match. Did she do things? Yeah. Were they things that stood out? Not really. And I think that was the difference between the two matches. I mean, you could very much say the same thing about Jimmy Uso in the men's match. It's just what the men's match had was a storyline, just hit a home run. But I do think that the development coming out of the women's match is that we could be primed for a Bayley versus Becky Lynch match. And I am 100% involved in that. We could see now a new challenger for Bianca Belair. We could see some I thought we saw a little bit of clarity on just how we thought the Damage Control versus Bianca and friends could be. I think there's closure there. I really do. I don't understand why you go back to that now. I understand that Bayley and Bianca weren't part of that finish, but now I just have no interest of seeing that match again.
No, and again, if they weren't going to give Bayley her heat back by pinning Bianca, then don't revisit it right now, because what you have here is you have the kryptonite or the Achilles heel of Bayley is Bianca Belair. She cannot seem to get a victory over her. So keep them separated for a while. Get Bayley into something else, get Bianca into something else, so that, say, half a year to a year down the road, and I say half a year because it seems like nobody has attention span enough for anything anymore these days, but a year down the road would be perfect to go revisit it at that point once they've built up a little bit more, and Bayley can come back to it and say she's tired of having this shadow over her, that she doesn't want to be known as the person that couldn't get the job done when it comes to Bianca. And then you can revisit that feud because you have something there. You have a story to tell. You can go back to it. And maybe at that point, the fans are loving Bayley again, kind of thing. Maybe Belair's turned heel at this point, and now it's finally time for Bayley to, get that victory that she's been longing for the year. The thing that's held her back from really excelling back to the title picture is that, that shadow looming over her that Bianca put on her in 3 matches in a row now.
Yeah. It's just amazing to me to see that despite the amount of other female stars that are coming up in this division, not named Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, Charlotte Flair, or Bayley, it was, in my opinion, Becky Lynch and Bayley that set themselves apart in that match last night, whether it was through their aggression, whether it was through their experience, whether it was through their storytelling of making every little shot mean something. I felt more invested in a shot thrown by those two with each other than I did in any other strike in that match. And I just thought they clearly showed that them together can be magic. And I'm very much on the board of wanting to see that. Whether that's a match we get to see at the Rumble, whether that's a match we get teased for through the Women's Royal Rumble match, it's going to be one of those things we have to see as we continue watching this product. But yeah, like just going back to Bayley and Bianca, it's just one of those things. It's time for Bayley to move on and go to something else, because I do think the more times you stay in a situation and it's not going to be you, all you're doing is just lowering the value of how people are perceiving you. And I do think you're at a point with Bayley where that next match, that next step has to be something pro Bayley, or we're risking lowering the value of Bayley as we know it, because that high of her coming back has faded.
Yeah.
So what does she have right now? And right now she has Damage Control. She has the women's tag team champions by her side. But as an individual, what is there for her? And I think right now that's the question we have to ask for Bayley.
That's just right. And that's what we got to create, that level of separation and start putting her into something else. And I think if you do so, put her in with Becky Lynch. Maybe that's how she gets her heat back, is she ends up going in there and defeating Becky Lynch of all people. Again, I don't think Becky would be harmed in taking a loss to Bayley by any means. It would help reestablish Bayley in the title picture, or at least at the top of the card anyway. Yeah, again, maybe they're rolling with the fact that Bayley is a big enough star that she doesn't necessarily need a title belt right now. But we're talking about a Bayley that ran with that belt during pandemic era wrestling and was one of the standouts during one of the worst times in professional wrestling's history. And then you bring her back with all this excitement, this new group and everything, think that she's going to be unstoppable, and she's been anything but so far. She's been making countless amounts of mistakes, almost looking more rookie-like than she ever was when she, left with the injury. I'm wondering how you rebuild that. And I think that that's got to go down to putting her in there with somebody at the level of Becky Lynch and having her go over at this point.
Yeah, and I'm kind of led to believe that maybe if the rumors are true that Naomi and Sasha Banks will return to WWE, then maybe you're going to go towards the Becky, Sasha, Naomi versus Damage Control. I don't know, because we haven't seen a lot of dynamic between Becky and Sasha in a while to understand if that's something, but they do again have that 4 horsewomen mentality. So it could be interesting, but I don't know, because anytime I'm thinking Bayley right now, I'm thinking Damage Control, I'm thinking women's tag team champions. So at some point they have to do that. The only thing I could think about is potentially Damage Control being the trio that kind of brings back the Freebird rule for those tag titles. It could be the first ever Freebird rule for the tag titles for the women.
That's very much true. And again, I wouldn't be opposed to that. That would be a decent look for the group in general. Again, having somebody as strong as Bayley joining them and do that kind of thing. I like that idea. I think that is a good direction that they could go with those.
Yeah. Bazzer coming in and saying, hear me out, Bayley should go by her shoot name from now on. Pam is way more badass. She isn't even Bayley anymore. I don't know if that's going to be a thing.
Yeah. Her shoot name Pam, and or else revert back to her old indie name, Davina Rose. I think she's established enough as Bayley that that's the direction it's going to go now.
Yeah, well, one, I don't think they'll touch the Rose thing with Mandy Rose being in the company. But yeah, I don't know. Like, there's too much stock in the Bayley character right now to just completely kill it. There's too much history with Bayley, not only from NXT with the 4 horsewomen, with what she's doing. I don't think a name change is going to change anything for her. I just think it's a creative direction that's really going to make or break what we do next, because we know what we have with Bailey. We know the potential there. We know the star quality she does possess. It's just a matter of putting it in the right position and letting it shine the most. And that's something that, if we're talking about being lost in the shuffle, Bailey might actually be lost in the shuffle from the main title picture, because she just might not be the answer. She might not be the next one in line, but she could be kind of that person, right? Like we just need to find kind of where she fits right now, because I think maybe that's the uncertainty of what's, we're talking about, the person, or we've talked about the person who could beat Roman Reigns for the Universal Heavyweight Championship, but who's going to be the person to beat Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. Be interesting to see what the plans are for Bianca Belair moving forward, who her opponent's going to be. Do they have a viable enough threat within the divisions in order to have something done about her at the top of the card? And I just want to stray away just for a minute from the Survivor Series talk. We can get back to it in a minute, because I was just reading something, so I just wanted to pull one of these. I don't know how breaking news it is. This was reported about 11 hours ago in the Wrestling Observer, but interesting news that you're going to be witnessing Molly Holly this week on NXT. She is going to be joining Shawn Michaels to announce the competitors in the Iron Survivor Challenge matchup that's coming up. So very interesting, talking about the women's division, and Molly Holly will be coming in there, and that's for baseball.
But Bobby, it's also confirmed that the Road Dogg Jesse James will also be helping out with Molly Holly and Shawn Michaels to reveal the participants in this Iron Survivor match. There will be a fourth, and that will be named at a later time. So, Molly Holly and Road Dogg Jesse James also being added. I'm very happy that Molly Holly is being added here, and I do believe that we need more Molly Holly in our on our TV screen.
Vassar saying that's why we get his Prime subs breaking news to be a weekly event, and it is, my man. We find ways to sneak it in there every single time, all the time. Breaking news, Bobby, and Big Scoops Chris Parrish. Yeah, I like that. Big Scoops Chris Parrish.
I mean, how dare you talk about the size of my scoops there, Andre? I mean, that just stays about between me and my Rogue Energy tub. Hey, yo. Yeah.
I like it.
Talk about changing.
I just thought I'd throw that in there, but I mean, that's huge. That's great things. And Molly Holly is a great talent. Glad that she's got any capacity being brought in there as well too. Fantastic breaking news on both accounts.
That gave me a thought. What about the potential match here at WrestleMania? Molly Holly against Bailey. Think about this for a second and think about how parallel their careers can actually be. With the exception of Molly Holly kind of not being in or really being a part of a faction and being the leader, like Bailey is in Damage Control, she was a part with Hurricane and Rosie in the superhero in training, right? She was Mighty Molly there. So she wasn't a 3-person group per se. But they also both started but she wasn't the leader, is what I'm saying. Like,
wait, was she? I thought it was
Ivory was. Yeah, I know Ivory was, but I thought Molly kind of touched a little bit. But again, like where I'm kind of going with, she wasn't ever the leader of a faction like Bailey has been or is right now. But what they were at the beginning was that girl next door. We're going to have you be kind of the female presence for little girls, that inspiration character. And then we've seen them evolve over the years. It would be great. And I know we've seen it in the Royal Rumble with Nikki ASH against Mighty Molly. But what about Molly Holly now having that one match with Bailey? And I think that'd be a really cool, maybe dream match scenario. But it also would give Bailey something of worth doing that maybe doesn't have her doing anything with any of the current stage on girls right now.
That's a fair idea. But again, if you're going to do it, please don't make it Mighty Molly Holly. And again, nothing against Molly Holly and how she portrayed that. I just would like it if you're going to do that, just bring her in as Molly Holly. I mean, that's where she was at her best.
Yeah, no, I think the Mighty Molly Nikki ASH thing at the Rumble was very nicely done. But I think this is a time where, the Molly Holly thing. And it'd also be really nice kind of have her, pay homage to, I guess she, in a weird way, was also in the group with Crash and Hardcore Holly. So it'd be nice to kind of have a little bit of a tribute to that. And now I'll kind of take this as a spin back to Survivor Series, back into the War Games men's match. It was absolutely amazing to see the tribute Kevin Owens showed for Dusty Rhodes, the creator of the War Games match, repping a Dusty Rhodes shirt, repping the one elbow pad, the jeans, kind of very similar to what Dusty Rhodes would wear in not only War Games, but in matches that are more of a fight, more of a quote unquote war. Thought that was really nice, very tasteful, and just awesome to see. But yeah, also just wanted to point that one out because I wanted to make sure that didn't go unnoticed, because War Games, as much as we say isn't the same with William Regal yelling it also isn't the same without Dusty Rhodes referencing or understanding that, he is a great mind. It's like Pat Patterson is to the Royal Rumble, Dusty Rhodes is to War Games. And I really hope one day we can get a Cody Rhodes involvement in War Games.
Yeah, that would be fantastic as well, too. And speaking of things that shouldn't go unnoticed, Shayna Baszler has a really cool shirt. And that was the only thing that you should have paid attention to in the matchup that involved Ronda Rousey and Shotzi from last night, because, oh my God, Ronda's the worst, and that match was awful.
And I'm going to say this. I agree that I did not like Ronda's performance. I thought Shotzi did very well. I thought she yeah. I didn't think like this was, I was really hoping that this was kind of a coming out party for her. I don't think she did anything wrong in that. And I do want her to be given another opportunity to do something of magnitude. But I just don't think this was a match that you saw a lot of chemistry. I do think the match I think we want to see is Shayna Baszler versus Ronda Rousey for that championship. Give us that. And I do want to see a face version of Shayna Baszler in that realm. But yeah, I mean, this is an opportunity where I'm like, okay, let's find out what we can do. I mean, we're talking about Bailey and what's the right fit for her. I think that's the same can be said for Shotzi.
Yeah. What's Bastard got here on this one? How about that?
How about over the top rope DDT to the outside that Ronda couldn't follow? Poor Shotzi did what she could.
Yeah, I mean, Shotzi tried her best, but again, Ronda's just awful. There was even one point when Ronda was trying to put on the armbar, or she was trying to lock some armbar on Shotzi, and she starts stomping the leg as if she's trying to drop the leg over top of Shotzi repeatedly, but you could clearly see she's just stomping the mat with her foot. Her leg is completely elevated to the point where it comes nowhere near Shotzi's body and just looks absolutely pathetic. If you're going to put a move like that together, throw it in. You're not going to hurt somebody by slapping a little skin on skin every once in a while. Don't be such a puss and actually throw something in there for a change. You're the baddest woman on the planet. Fucking prove it for once.
And that has been the rant of one Bobby Munson. But yeah, no, this is something that grinds my gears a little bit, is just the lack of aggressiveness and kind of fluidity sometimes in pro wrestling. I think too, like we have to still, this is what I think of Ronda Rousey. I think she does have a substantial name value and a draw in the world right now. What she has done in her life has been remarkable. What she has done for MMA, for women, and just, the transcending of, that women involvement has been nothing short of amazing. her involvement as a pro wrestler on that hand is very typical of somebody who still is getting it or trying to understand it. Does she have the physical attributes to do it? Sure. What is she lacking? I think the patience and the timing and the footwork. I do believe that when it comes to the footwork of professional wrestling, Ronda Rousey has 2 left feet. We've heard that in the dance game, but I think she has it in the wrestling game. Just slow things down a little bit. This is why I believe you need to have the right person with her to guide her through. She's not ready to be the one that's calling the action, pushing the pace, as I'm still trying to find who Ronda Rousey is as a professional wrestler, because right now I'm very confused as much as the makeup is on her face.
The makeup
As
was
are
trying
coming
to
in
run
saying,
away last night.
yeah, Ronda seems like she's having MMA flashbacks during her match and doesn't sell. She's terrible, and her chirping the opponent to the crowd kills momentum. I think that's just timing. I think there's a spot and a right time to do some chirp to the crowd and go back. And right now, that's where I feel she's having some issues. Just the timing of when to put things, when to do things. It's experience for her. 100% it's experience, and it's just, this is the time you just gotta, go to the drawing board and then just keep working on the big picture. You'll eventually get it, but you just got to put in that work. Yeah. With the time being, this is where I want to see Shayna Baszler. More Shayna Baszler, because the less I see Ronda Rousey right now, I think is better for her future and her involvement.
Yeah, the best thing they could have done is put her with Shayna, because Shayna gets it. Shayna's fantastic. Again, Shayna should have been getting the Ronda Rousey treatment. She just doesn't have that name capacity, like you say, that star that follows. If she did, it would be a completely different ball game, because Shayna knows how to get it done inside the ring. She looks like a badass. She acts like a badass. And that's the one thing about it is, when they eventually turn on one another, I hope that, yes, Shayna can go on the side of the babyface, because people just don't connect with Ronda. But I hope they don't sissy up the way that Shayna presents herself. I hope she continues to be a badass, but now she becomes a badass to the side of good. She's that badass warrior that's going to go in there and take out the people that people don't like. And then that way we don't have to change up who Shayna Baszler is character-wise. We just change up who she's kicking the asses of.
Yeah, and you just said it. One of the big things here, connection. She doesn't have that organic connection to the fans right now. She has that organic reaction with not only her name and the music, but on top of that, during the matches, she needs that natural connection with the fans. She has to find what that is before she's going to that next level. If right now, if we're talking about the clunkiness that is her transitions, whether it's the clunkiness of, the moves, she needs to find that connection with the fans. So at the very least, you give the other things a little bit of a pass, because there's something that works. And we've seen it in the mindset of, or not in the mindset, but we've seen it with other people in the past where maybe they didn't have the tools. I'm going to actually use Kelly as a great example on this one. She had that connection with the fans. She might have not been the best in the ring, and she took a lot of time working on that craft, but she always had that connection with the fans in some way, to where when she did something, people reacted. Even if they weren't reacting to everything in the match, when she did something of her main, like if she hit one of her main moves, the people knew and they were there for her. That is something that they have to do with Ronda Rousey. She has to get a catchphrase. She has to be able to, hit an armbar or do something to where it's getting that reaction, that proper reaction from the crowd, and develop that connection.
Yeah, and again, that comes with time. And again, that's the biggest problem, is that Ronda was exposed to a main event level long before she got those opportunities to really get in the basics and stuff like that, get in the basics in front of smaller crowds and be able to work on herself. Instead, she's been highlighted for the world to see. And she was protected at first. Again, that she was put around people that knew what they were doing, knew how to carry themselves, allowing them to protect her image and do all those things. And now all the problems are starting to shine through because those kinks have not been worked out, and they're being worked out live on national TV. And that's where we're starting to see the downfall of Ronda Rousey. Now, they can capitalize on it like they're doing, turn her into a heel. Okay, check mark. That's the first step. Now you got to work on that in ring. Okay, have her work with the right people. Again, as much as Shotzi tried, Shotzi's not at the level of carrying a match and making Ronda look good at this point. Ronda needs strong female opponents that know how to work. They know how to make sure that she looks good in the process and everything. And that wasn't going to happen last night. And no fault to Shotzi. Shotzi, and people might not understand this, is still very green. She might be on a main roster, but she's still very green. It's a lot of inexperience that she will get. The ability with Shotzi is more so there than it is with Ronda currently. Ronda requires a lot more work than what Shotzi does, but Shotzi's not quite at that level of being able to go in there, to be able to call a match, be able to do things on the fly. She needs to be led a little bit more still before she'll get to that level. But I think that Shotzi has that ability to get there a lot quicker than Ronda does, but the expectation is for Ronda to get there quicker.
Yeah, and also I just want to point out a very just clap my hands a little bit for Shotzi, because that match was in dedication to her late father.
Yeah.
I know that was a very emotional match for Shotzi, and I can attest with going in that ring on an emotional scale. It's also not the easiest thing in the world. Sometimes you do make a mistake here and there because it's not because of a lack of focus. It's simply because sometimes, we all know this, we've all been there, but sometimes feelings and your internal thoughts can overtake your focus from here to there. So a very heavy mind she brought in that match. So, but I thought she was very far from being, terrible in that match. I thought she did what she had to do, what she could do, as was previously said in the comments. So, I'm very open to seeing Shotzi again, but at the same time, this is something where, okay, it's just Ronda. This wasn't a thing that worked out. This also begs me to ask this question. Is it time now to stop having two main champions for the women and maybe take one title, combine them, and then introduce that secondary championship like the Intercontinental, like the United States title are for the men's, and start introducing that for the women? Because this, I think, would allow people like Bayley, people like Shotzi, people in the past like Carmella to have a little bit more investment. We talk about, the Natties, how much she would benefit from having, that secondary championship. Could this be a real possibility? Is it time? Because I do think it could add a lot more to the depth of the division than having two world champions.
I agree with you. And again, the world championship, I think, again, if you're going to keep your roster split, this is where my mindset goes, is that your world champion should be able to float between. If you're the champion to everybody, you're the go-between between both shows. That could be said with the women's title. I have it as one champion, amalgamate the two, one champ floats between the shows, and then you can have your workhorse champion. And again, that it becomes tough there because they don't have two of them like the men do, right? The men have the US and the Intercontinental title, where you can have one per each show. I guess in this case, maybe depending on who you want them to feud with, you could have them float between as well too, building the stories in that aspect. Or do you go the road of having the women's tag championships on one show and the mid-card, to upper mid-card championship for the women on the other? Does Raw highlight the tag division while SmackDown highlights the singles division? There's a lot of options that you could go with, a lot of things to think about. I think there's ways that you could do this division a lot better. And I think, as much as I dislike adding more titles, if it means taking away two world titles and doing something along those lines like you're suggesting, I like that a lot more, because I think there's a lot more to be said with having a belt that you can easily put on, your lives, your Shotzies, your upper mid cards, the ones that you're looking to push, a Raquel Gonzalez, again, as they build these stars to get them to the level of your Charlottes, your Beckys, your Baileys, your Belairs. You want them to get to that level. So how do you do it? Build them up. Don't just keep putting the main belt on them with money in the banks or whatever cheap ways that you can do it. Have them authentically build it. And that's what the Intercontinental title used to do for so many. When it was introduced to the company a long time ago, it was used as that workhorse belt to test them in front of an audience. How did they carry themselves as a champion? Do the audience get behind them as a champion? And if so, then they can start getting looked at as, okay, how do we get them to that next level? How do we get them beyond that belt and start building them up to get into the main event level that we want them at now?
Yeah. And kind of as you were talking, I was kind of brainstorming, okay, if I was in charge, if I was Triple H, and this is something I'm choosing to do, how would I do it? And I think it's very simple. I would have the main event of WrestleMania 1, Raw Women's Champion versus SmackDown Women's Champion unification match, just like you did last year for the men's. And then I would come up with Evolution 2, where I crown the very first secondary champion as my main event, as the primary focus of that show, to evolve, what we're seeing right now in the women's division. And I think that would be amazing. It could be how you get there, could be tournament, whatever, whether you want to go even soccer style and do a bracket format, be creative, allow these women not only to have multiple opportunities, but also multiple chances to just go out there and solidify not only who they are as professional wrestlers, as entertainers, but also a chance to get those notches under their belt of trying to get that connection, organic connection with the fans. Because if we were to get more opportunities in that form, I think that's when you're starting to understand, okay, this is how we properly build the long term of this division. Because we've seen this now with the men's championship. It has done nothing but help, in my opinion. It has made the single or the Intercontinental and the U.S. Championship look more important, look more valuable, because it forces you away from the one and go after the second in a way. So, and then we've seen it with the tag, and now the tag division is better than it's been in a long time. So I think the proof is there that if you were to unify both the Raw and SmackDown women's titles and create that secondary one, it might benefit the depth of the women's division. And now we're not talking about, why don't they use this person more? Why don't you use this person more? Now we have a substantial identification of where they could land and be. Not only that, then when these Money in the Bank opportunities come in, when these Royal Rumbles come in, when these Queen's Crown was coming in, now we have a reason for them to actually go somewhere and earn their stripes and have that organic rise like we've seen in the past with either Becky Lynch or Daniel Bryan or Rey Mysterio, so on and so forth.
Yeah, and definitely it can be utilized to do a lot of great things, as our friend Basser coming in. Dana Brooke was trying to get people behind the idea of turning the 24/7 belt into a women's IC type belt. 2 days later, they threw it into, close to the garbage on air. But again, that's the problem, is that belt had already been established as a joke side title to begin with. So it's kind of hard, even, with that kind of a push, for someone to get behind the idea of that being a legitimate secondary belt for the women. If you're going to do that, you need to create something new. You need to create a tournament. And we've said it before, there's talk of the King of the Ring returning in the way that we used to see it. And if they were to do so, maybe the Queen of the Ring, or whatever they choose to call it, Queen's Crown, please God no. But whatever they choose to do with that, they could actually have that as the stepping stone for crowning the very first women's mid-card, upper mid-card, whatever championship they choose to go with, whatever title they name it. that could be the platform that they utilize in order to get there. And I think that a lot of people would get behind that and be very excited for it.
Bobby, you were mentioning the championship being thrown in the trash. People that could help be people that could help out a women's division. It has been now announced that the fourth and final member of the person who's going to help assist in Shawn Michaels, Molly Holly, and Road Dogg is none other than the original title trash thrower. Medusa is the fourth person announced to help pick the members of the Iron Survivor matches. So, yeah, we are getting the scoops. We are getting the information. We got breaking news. We got scoops galore here on Bustin' Out. That's why it's called the Buster's Dozen, because we got a dozen of stuff to say.
Well, like a baker's dozen. It's like a dozen plus one.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, episodes are dangerous. A lot of icing. Yeah. Pro icing. We sweeten the deal. That's right.
Oh,
no gimmicks. No. How's that line go? Something like that.
No gimmicks needed.
Yeah, that's right.
We go natural. All right. This is how we do it.
That's right. It's your gimmick for you. I got scoops.
Astrid's got the scoops. Astrid, in the form of keeping the narrative clean, we won't talk about your scoops.
And as you see that awesome emote right there, that is available for anybody who subs to the channel. They got a plethora of emotes available, including, I got the message that it was just released today or approved finally, one of the new emotes here, Mr. Parrish. And I'm going to see if I can just get this one to work here. If you just bear with me for one quick moment, I'm going to let you take the reins, and I'm going to see if I can find the brand new emote that everybody can now get when you subscribe to the channel.
Oh, it's not that naughty one that you sent me, was it?
Naughty? No, nothing naughty.
Well, that's okay. We're seeing a plethora of emotes that you can get from Andre in the chat, where we got the Ole logo. We got myself. We got Turnbuckle Studios. We got Astrid, and you know what? I need the big screen because I can't make the other one out. Yeah, Bobby, do you know what that one is? I really can't make it out on my screen.
I don't know.
You made them, so.
Yeah. So okay. Well, I mean, you've got the OLE one, you got the Chris Parrish one, you got the Turnbuckle Studios one, you got the Mel and Andre one, and you got the Astrid Bizarre one right there. There
we go. I literally could not read it. It's too small. I can't, and I have bad eyesight. All right.
Yeah. So again,
I couldn't see John Cena when he was doing, the beginning part of his career, when he was the prototype. I couldn't see him back then. So.
And I guess the reason I'm not finding the other emote is because you need to be sub tier 3. So tier 3 is where you'll get the official.
Stupid, all right, let's just move past that. Stupid, all right.
No,
yeah, we got it, Ambassador. We understand. All right, you guys stop rubbing it in. We get it.
So it's a tier 3 sub will get you the busting out official emote. So if you really sub to the channel, like super sub to the channel, then you get the official busting out. and if you do, you'll get an extra big thank you from the Brunch Busters.
I mean,
did I screw up with naming the emotes? Probably.
Oh, probably.
Am I usually intoxicated while making said emotes? Yes.
I mean,
no, Andre, stay at tier 1. Hey, tier 1 is more than enough.
We'll do this for everyone that does qualify and go up and bring out that busting out remote or emote. You will receive a breaking news graphic where we will plug the fact that you are tier 3 with the busting out, but you must provide said emote, and we'll do that for everyone.
I like it. I think that is a fantastic.
Yeah, don't worry, I do too.
To get it.
Apparently, I do too. If you have shit eyes, then my eyes are clearly constipated. All right, I'll one up you on that one.
Fantastic.
Yeah. But yeah,
Oh yeah,
we
this is a
really
wrestling show.
mentioned yeah, no, we really, as we kind of went away from the women's War Games match, we were talking about Bianca Belair, who could defeat her, and I wanted to show or just put out that we uh, we had that press conference after, and she did admit that she was asked who her two people that she would want to face at WrestleMania are. She said, number one, easy, Rhea Ripley, simply because that was the person she has kind of gone up the road with, and kind of, that's, parallel careers as like so far really with each other. They're kind of like, those kind of rivals from a career standpoint. She also then mentioned Charlotte Flair as she kind of gave a little wink to Becky, who's sitting beside her, saying, "Yeah, I kind of said I wanted to beat all the four horsewomen, and well, she's the only one left." So there's that, and she made sense of it. So I can understand that. Clearly, it was a goal for her to actually do that, and she's one away. And I'm not gonna lie, it's a fresh matchup. I wouldn't be against it. The only thing I'd be against is I don't know if I'm ready to see Charlotte Flair in a championship match right away again. Um, but yeah, I do have time for an eventual Charlotte versus Bianca matchup.
And that's what I was going to ask you too. But you did answer my question already. Was that, are you on the side where most people are, where they don't want to see her in a matchup for the championship right away? Again, I'm a big fan of Charlotte Flair. I think more so than a lot of people have been as of late. Like, I'll give her a lot more credit for the way she can conduct herself as a champion. I know people get tired of her. I get it. But again, there's a reason that she's pushed to the top. She looks like someone who should be at the top of a card. She does good performances. Again, maybe she should mix it up, add a few extra things that we haven't seen before, would really change the narrative for her and everything. But it's just the way it is. It's, that's her style. She's come up with it. It clicks. It's not always the most exciting, but that's just the way we go. I'm not necessarily excited for the title aspect of it against Bianca. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like that might be the direction they are going for a WrestleMania, would be a Charlotte and Bianca Belair encounter. And again, the two of them, I think, could work a really, really strong matchup. I think that would be a great one to see. And if you're talking WrestleMania, you want those strong matchups between all your competitors. You want people to be talking about everything coming out of WrestleMania. And I think with Bianca Belair and Charlotte, they get that. And that's definitely something that they should be thinking about going into WrestleMania season.
Yeah, and the nice thing about this coming WrestleMania is you have a lot of opportunity to do a lot of good things, whether they're good stories, whether they're good matches, whether they're fresh matches, whether they're dream matches. You have an opportunity now to have, I think, potentially the best WrestleMania or the best nights of WrestleMania that you've ever had. And I think that could be absolutely just a staple of the Triple H era. But when we are talking about just Bianca Belair, if we're talking about just Charlotte, actually, hold on. I'll just talk about Charlotte for 1 second, because that's kind of the topic at hand right now, and where we steered in. And I just want to get to Astrid's comment. Yeah, plus the last two women when Bianca won the Rumble. Yeah, between her and Rhea as well. And I think that just eventually that story needs to be a WrestleMania match for the title. And I think I would much rather have that, to be quite honest. Not to mention, we've seen Bianca kind of get the upper hand on Rhea for a good chunk of time now. It's time maybe that we bring it back over a little bit and keep that rivalry going. And this kind of now brings me to Charlotte Flair, because as someone who kept winning championship after championship after championship, that's all well and good, but that's also going to be just, okay, you're just like your dad, right? Like, that's all they're going to do. You're just more like your dad. It's all about the championships. It's not about the feuds. And when we look about some of the best of all time, the Stone Colds, the Rocks, we're not talking about how many championships they won. That's a special thing. Hell, we're not even talking about John Cena, the 16-time world champion. We're talking about John Cena of some of the great things he's done, whether it's the feuds against The Rock, whether it's his U.S. Open Challenge, whether it's, the feud with AJ Styles and beat up John Cena, or maybe it's, feuds that he's had with Randy Orton over the past, or you know, it's those that really staple somebody's legacy. And it's going to happen more often than not. So, what Charlotte Flair really needs right now are those legitimate rivalries that help people remember what she's done. Yeah, the titles are going to be great, but she also needs that substance of the feuds, those rivalries. And one that really speaks volumes right now is based on the real life bad blood between her and Becky. And I think if you can, you run with that a little bit because that's a natural thing that people are going to go after. And it also forces you to say, okay, whose side are you on? You know, are you Charlotte? Are you Becky? Could be very polarizing.
Yeah, it definitely will be polarizing because there's two sides to the coin there because a lot of people, there is a lot of naysayers when it comes to Becky's work. I know she's gotten better with time, but if you go back on a lot of Becky's matches, and I will say it, she's very, very, and I know there's a lot of people that are good in wrestling that have this same problem. It's very, very clear when she's calling a match. You can tell when Becky is calling something. She does not hide it very well. And it doesn't always come together as nicely. I think Becky is a strong worker. She's great on a microphone. She's great in a ring. She's very serviceable. I think that she is almost better when she is led by somebody else who knows how to call the matchups better. And then you get a lot stronger matchup. And I think that Charlotte does the calling of a match a little bit better than what Becky does. That's a personal opinion. I know not everybody's going to agree, but Becky has gotten much stronger over it, especially since coming back from injury over the last year. I think that there's been a lot of development in how she handles herself in the ring. And I think that she's now more star-like than she was prior, even though she had that very strong showing in the run as the man. Since she's come back, I think that her ability as a pro wrestler and her ability inside the ring as a ring leader has really started to shine a lot more.
Yeah, and I think that's just something that we have to get used to with a lot now, too, because I think the one thing that we saw near the end of the Vince run with some of these talents, yeah, he likes to shoot them to the moon a lot, right? But to get that true organic ride is something that I still think needs to be done with certain people. And we get to see that a little bit more. For some people, they had that ability in NXT to have that. Some did not. So we're going to have to kind of go back and relearn that about them. And I say people like Lacey Evans, prime example of that. We have to kind of go back and understand who she is before we can kind of go back and say whether or not we have a true connection with her. Same thing about Aaliyah when she does come back. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve still, but it's a learning curve of not from, the beginning part of the learning curve. It's now the learning curve of, okay, how can you go from here to here instead of going from here to here? So.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see too, because I mean, we're talking about next opponents and everything like that. And, you got to imagine with the story that's unfolding with the what they were telling us last night as well too. Raquel, I keep wanting to say Rodriguez or Gonzalez. No, it is Rodriguez currently, right?
That's it is Rodriguez.
Yeah,
she's the double R now.
Yep. The double R. Okay, so double R's arm was all sorts of busted up by the attack that was done on her. So again, are they leading potentially to a matchup between Raquel and Ronda Rousey? Again, it seems like that is the next step for Ronda. The next progression for her could even be the said Royal Rumble setup here is Raquel going up against Ronda Rousey. I'm a big advocate. I think Raquel's got something. I think she's got a strong size. I think she's a strong worker. Again, still green. Still got a lot of work to do, but I think there's a lot of potential in Raquel going forward. And I think that her and Ronda could be a very appealing encounter, definitely from seeing what Raquel's capable of and seeing if maybe we'll see any progression in Ronda's ability eventually.
See, and to me, this is just where this is the prime example of no, this is not right for both. In my personal opinion, Ronda Rousey does not get any better working with somebody of the experience level of Raquel Rodriguez. Raquel Rodriguez would benefit tremendously tremendously if she's working with somebody a lot more polished in the ring, a lot more polished on how to get her to be more comfortable in who she is as a performer. Somebody to bring that out. Whereas Ronda needs not only the similar thing, but she also needs to be pushed into that perspective of, okay, you're a star, but now you have to walk the walk. So you need that person that's going to help you shape yourself to be a main eventer. Whereas Raquel, she's still kind of in that, natural ride process. I just think sometimes this isn't math. Sometimes two negatives don't equal a positive. I'm not calling them negative performers. I'm calling them negative situations right now in the sense that they need somebody to help them be led in the right direction. And then we have Basserson, like Becky as Cyndi Lauper. Becky's a great example of someone that could help elevate that person. I think this is the right time to start putting in those eggs of, okay, we're leaning towards Becky and Ronda. I think this is the right time to maybe think about, say, doing Rhea versus maybe it's Bailey. Maybe it's somebody who's of that experience. But yeah, I just don't know if we're going to get more out of Raquel and Ronda than what we got from Shotzi and Ronda.
Yeah, and you're fair to make that assessment. Again, I think the only reason they're going to do it is for the purpose of trying to make Ronda look stronger as champion by having someone that they can have go over and not really necessarily damage what they've done so far. And that's kind of where it's leaning right now. I think that you're 100% right. It's not going to do justice to the build for Raquel. I think it's only going to draw her back a couple of steps. So again, yeah, you need somebody more polished to work with her. Again, Raquel needs to be working with your Charlottes, with your Beckys and people like that to get that experience in. Those ones going over her, I think, would be a lot better than having Ronda go over right now. I think, yeah, in terms of Belair, though, I think that Belair versus Rhea Ripley, I think, is a direction I'd like to see them go. In terms of WrestleMania, I think it's a fresh matchup for sure. It's something interesting. Again, like I don't go back to Astrid's comment about the ending to the Women's Royal Rumble there as well too. I think that there's a lot of narrative there between the two of them, and I think that you can tell a great story and have a really strong matchup. I think these are two the faces of the women's division for years to come, and I think that the time at WrestleMania would be a swan song for the two of them.
Yeah, and we're kind of talking about just as you were saying, I was like, you know what, Shayna Baszler is very underrated with the way she helps less experienced talent. I thought she did a great job with Liv Morgan. I thought they had great chemistry, to be quite honest. Maybe that would be a better matchup than maybe Raquel and Ronda. But another name I'm going to throw out, and we saw Nikki Cross come back as that new kind of persona, very, very much inspired by that Sanity character. What happens if we see Doudrop come back? Maybe it's back as Piper Niven. Maybe it's more in that aggressive heel role. Could that be a perfect person to work with Raquel Rodriguez moving forward? I would actually have a lot of time. Also, I'm going to throw out another name that could very well work out. And if she's no longer going to be part of the NXT world, what about bringing up an Alba Fire as somebody that could be someone to have? She was on main event against Tamina this past week or this past episode, and I thought she looked amazing. I thought she looked very comfortable being on that main stage. So I do think that it's very close that maybe we see Alba Fire on a Raw or SmackDown. So yeah, like I'm not too sure what the right move is. I can only have an idea of what I prefer and what I would like, but yeah, I just wouldn't be upset with a slow burn on Raquel Rodriguez right now. I just wouldn't be shooting her up in the moon right now when clearly there's still holes in the game.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I 100% agree with you. And again, there's so many names that you could start throwing out there. People who we haven't even mentioned. I mean, you're talking about NXT call-ups, which I'm sure we're going to see some in spade, right after WrestleMania for sure. So I hope they reserve some of those NXT call-ups for that exact timing. But, floating other names around, we haven't even started to mention the fact that Candice LeRae is part of this main roster and doesn't really have any particular direction going currently, and could very well be slotted into one of these title pictures at any point in time too.
Yeah. I mean, and that's just it too. And we talk about the depth of this division, and this is why I put out the, is it time now to really, truly think about pulling the trigger on adding a secondary championship to the women closer to the Intercontinental US and more of a mid-card title, and therefore uniting and unifying the two women championships. I just truly believe that this could be the right thing moving forward, as we have the man who's behind Variant Wrestling Realities, Ed Fry's, joining us in the chat. Hey, boys, outrunning errands, wanted to say hi. Well, hello to you, sir, and thank you for joining in. Thank you for pulling up a stool and saying hi. We appreciate that.
There's always room at the table when it comes to busting out, or just our local establishment in general. Everybody's always welcome because it's our local establishment, not just ours, not just yours. It's everybody's local establishment.
Well, I mean, that's just it, right? I mean, we got no capacity. We don't kick people out. We just say welcome, and we just say. So
that's right. Like Master saying.
There you go. See, I mean, we can't even time that out. Who would have thought too that we're talking about really the man who kind of made that chant popular in the wrestling world, Sami Zayn too. I do think it's very apropos, by the way, to get a couple Ole for Sami Zayn.
That's right. Yeah. Dedicated right to him, especially, because, I mean, we're talking about a fellow Canadian here. So he definitely gets that kind of treatment. That's again, extra one for Canada.
Yeah.
Speaking of Canada, poor Canada. Poor Canada. That's all I'll say. We lost.
Yeah. It's Trudeau's fault, right?
Yeah,
Everything's Trudeau's fault. So, I mean, everything. Andre coming in with the beautiful our local establishment logo remote. Yeah. You know what? I do think. You know what? Because that is what you decided to do. You one of those as well. Right. But yeah, I mean, now that we're kind of Survivor Series last night was the last PLE for the main roster in the year 2022.
Yeah.
The last one to date is NXT's Deadline, where the only match we know that is confirmed is Braun Breaker defending that NXT championship against Apollo Crews. So the next time we're going to see a PLE for anybody, Raw, SmackDown, is the Royal Rumble. As of right now, located San Antonio, Texas, in the Alamo Dome. I believe it's January 28th.
Yes.
So... which is good, because if I'm thinking about going, I might want to make sure I know the dates.
This just in, Parrish books a hotel room in San Antonio for the weekend before.
Yeah. Let's kind of just play devil's advocate right now. Where are we standing with the Rumble? And on this date of November 27th of 2022, we are 2 months and 1 day out of the Royal Rumble, but what are our early predictions for winners for the Royal Rumble matches?
First of all, yay, building time between premium live events. Go figure. This is awesome. In the fact, this is the way it used to be, too. No, I haven't something, because they're not doing day one, are they?
No, that is officially off the card. Off the table. It's off. You know what? It's off the head of the tables.
Yeah, that's right. Day one, get the F out. So we straight on the build to the Royal Rumble. And again, I have to agree with my boy Bastard69 on that one. I really think on the men's side of things, no doubt in my mind, especially after seeing another promo video last night talking all about how he could be the Rhodes member that finally puts that championship around his waist in a tribute to his family legacy. The narrative is there. If Cody is fit and ready to go, and they're keeping this under wraps because I believe this is going to be a surprise 29, 28, 30, one of those last final three in the men's Rumble is going to be a Cody Rhodes, very reminiscent to when John Cena made that shocking comeback as well, too. Cody goes all the way. Cody wins. I think Cody is going to WrestleMania for winning that championship. And I still want to throw it out there how awesome it would be to build this all up. Cody finally getting that moment. He goes to WrestleMania. He wins the belt. He's having that emotional moment. And that's when that jerk theory comes out to cash in his money out of bank and spoil everybody's fun. I think that would be interesting.
It's too bad he doesn't have it anymore.
Oh, sorry. No, I missed something there. What happened there?
Well, he cashed in on the U.S. title like a couple of weeks ago, and that's what caused him to switch into this persona.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever. What a waste.
Don't worry.
So
it's all good. You're just getting really focused with the
right.
the War Games theme song sung by Led Zeppelin. I get
that's right. Yeah, I get a little fuzzy headed sometimes. I can't really think for myself. No, but I guess that takes that off the table. So again, I got to go that direction. Charlotte wins, challenges Bianca. No. I'm sorry. Charlotte coming back challenges champion, and it goes over no matter what. I honestly think they're going to go with having Becky win this thing and possibly having her go after Ronda. They're currently on separate shows as far as I know, but the only way to get that narrative to work is to have Becky win that Royal Rumble matchup herself, go on to challenge Ronda, and finally get justification in terms of going back and being the one to beat Ronda Rousey again, being the Achilles heel of Ronda Rousey and being able to put the victory over her one more time, this time in one-on-one action. So I'll go on a limb. I think Becky Lynch for the women's side of things.
Yeah, for the women, this is exactly what I do. I'd have the Elimination Chamber be the match where it's the number one contender to Ronda Rousey. That is where I would have Becky Lynch win. So I'd have Becky Lynch win the Elimination Chamber match, become the number one contender for that. Though my prediction for the 2023 Women's Royal Rumble, Rhea Ripley. I think you do that match. I think that's the right way to go. I think it's a great way to serenade Rhea Ripley. Just from everything she's done, she, in my opinion, she was the first completed part of the Judgment Day when there was with Edge and Damian Priest. She was that one piece of that puzzle that made this an actual faction. And then the amount of positivity she has brought towards the evolution of Dominic Mysterio right now, absolutely amazing. The slam heard across Twitter, only if you pay your $8. Where she slammed Luke Gallows. I think it was just amazing. I think bit by bit, you're seeing it put out there that she is someone that they have big plans for moving forward. And I think a Royal Rumble win are those plans. And I really hope that that's the case. With the men's, it's make or break if Roman is the champion going into the WrestleMania. And if he's the champion going into WrestleMania, I'm going to put this out. The Rock will not be a part of WrestleMania. Yeah. I have a really strong feeling that if The Rock and Roman is going to happen, it's not going to be for that championship. And if it is, then I think Roman Reigns is just continuing his reign. Like, I really do believe that. I don't think Rock and Roman, if it's going to happen, is going to result into a Rock win. And that is why I do not feel the championship is needed there. I have a feeling we're going to see Cody Rhodes come back and win, only to see him defend that championship at WrestleMania against Seth Rollins.
Okay. Yeah, that direction works, and I see where you're coming from on that for sure. I like that. I can get behind that as well too. Seth and Cody, we know, can put on a classic. They've done it 3 times in a row now. So them going one-on-one for the championship, and with Cody defending it at WrestleMania, okay, that definitely works. That's a solid storyline. Again, then you have to definitely bring in the narrative that however you get the belt on Cody prior to WrestleMania has to have the involvement of The Rock to screw Roman Reigns to start creating the storyline of why it is that Roman wouldn't be pushing for his opportunity again to get back into the title picture immediately.
Yeah. I'm also going to cheat. I am going to put a dark horse out. I believe after the one segment where we saw Karrion Kross talk to the Usos and say, when I come from Roman Reigns and his championships, it's just going to be me.
Interesting.
My dark horse to win the 2023 Men's Royal Rumble is Karrion Kross.
That is a dark horse for sure, because I don't know that they're ready to pull the trigger there yet or not. But yeah, it's a very unique thought. Again, anything could happen. That's the best part about WWE. We've been saying a lot lately is they could pull something like that. They could pull something that we're not expected. They're leading us to believe all these different things. They're playing the promo packages for Cody Rhodes, where to believe that this is going to be the hero that chases the title and finally gets it. And they could really pull the wool over our eyes and have somebody like a Karrion Kross go over, and it would shock the world for sure, 100%.
Well, that's just the thing. Like we said in the past that with Vince, you said never say never. But I think when we talk Triple H, anything can happen. So, yeah, Ambassador's saying Matt Cardona will show as Matt Cardona, which I'm thinking he's saying Matt Cardona will show up as Matt Cardona, not Zack Ryder at the Rumble. He won't win, but he will be there. Yeah. And I would also love to see Matt Cardona come back as himself. Maybe he's with Chelsea Green, who's very heavily rumored to be WWE bound again. So that would be something that would be awesome in a lot of things. And I would actually love to see Matt Cardona go up against somebody of like that. Maybe like we're talking about a potential match of like what could fit for Steve Austin. Imagine if it's Matt Cardona versus Stone Cold at WrestleMania.
That's one thought on it for sure. I was almost thinking that you could go down the road again of having your mixed intergender matchup, and you could have Matt Cardona and Chelsea Green take on, say, Miz and Maurice or something like that as well too.
Yeah, it's all depending on how they're going to be presented if and when they go to WWE. So nothing concrete in terms of their direction in WWE yet, just rumors. But again, depends on how they want to be viewed and if they want to be who they are. I think Matt Cardona stands to be a huge piece in the WWE puzzle if he's treated not only a lot more serious than he was as Zack Ryder, but also a standout on his own merit, not maybe always tied towards Chelsea. But if they did a Chelsea-esque role as in Scarlett, as in Karrion Kross, and sprinkle in some wrestling here and then, okay, yeah, I have some time.
Yeah. And, speaking of things that are unfolding within the world of WWE right now, Parrish, on Friday night, people were given an opportunity to make a phone call. I don't know if you heard about this, but if you paid close enough attention, a phone number was presented on WWE SmackDown on Friday night. And when you call it, it was a pre-recorded message from the psychiatrist of one Bray Wyatt saying that he is in danger and he is a danger to himself and to other people. Again, continuing on this whole thing that Uncle Howdy might not be far off and telling us all that Bray Wyatt is trying to pretend right now. This is not a good man. This is a very dangerous man, and that people need to be warned. And LA Knight should be on alert because he has been earmarked by Bray Wyatt now and could be in some severe danger himself.
Yeah. And we also saw with SmackDown being on, and we saw Uncle Howdy kind of having that interruption again with Bray. There's a likelihood that we could be seeing the unveiling of who Uncle Howdy really is. And that, to me, I kind of laughed because I was like, wasn't that the same mask Bray Wyatt came out with at Extreme Rules? So I'm like, really, isn't Bray Wyatt Uncle Howdy? But again, that stands in comparison, because what we know is logic with Bray Wyatt is not logical at all, because he can spin a story so many ways that I don't even think I know the meaning of logic anymore when I'm following Bray Wyatt, because that guy just absolutely shocks and awes my brain every single time. But leads me to believe that maybe we could be seeing the first potential unveiling of somebody aligned with Bray Wyatt. And I really, really hope it's either his brother, Taylor Rotunda, or I hope it's Waylon Mercy.
Oh man, I mean, Waylon Mercy would be a nice little touch. A definitely throw back to where Bray's original character was kind of drawn from, where we got that sort of persona and everything like that. For those who don't remember Waylon Mercy back in the 1990s, very reminiscent of the swamp leader Bray Wyatt that we got in his first incarnation with the WWE. So that would be a very nice touch. But again, I think the obvious one could very well, and especially with some of the things that have been said, be his own brother, Bo Dallas or Taylor Rotunda. Did you also notice in the Uncle Howdy video from Friday, if it was slowed down, there is a quick image shown of the Nexus within this video as well, too. Very interesting to see that.
Yeah, they showed a lot about Bray's past, whether it was, the Swamp version of Bray Wyatt, whether it was the Fiend Bray Wyatt, or whether or not it was his time as Husky Harris in the new Nexus. So that's very interesting to see this whole story kind of unravel in its entirety, showcasing his entire run with WWE, which I say run because that was definitely a trademark word that he used a lot in his past. So I like it. Like it makes me wonder that the person that is behind the Uncle Howdy as we know it now is very much somebody perhaps from the past of Bray Wyatt himself.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe it's Bray's psychiatrist himself. At this point, we don't know. This could be somebody that's got a doctorate in psychiatry, and they've been treating one Bray Wyatt, and they're trying to warn people, watch out. I've unleashed a monster here, and he might be hiding in plain sight right now. Be warned. And again, LA Knight not taking that warning very well, as he's been right in the face of one Bray Wyatt. Not sure if that's the smartest move for a person, but hey, nobody said LA Knight was out there to be the smartest guy in the room. He was just the one out there to make the most noise and draw the most attention.
Well, let me talk to you for a second. What you're saying is true. So, yeah, I mean, what can you say? I mean, LA Knight, I think, is more focused on making the story about him opposed to understanding the details that are written within the pages of this book. So I think that is what we're seeing kind of come in. But it's really amazing that even the LA Knight portion of, how he's getting hurt, he does not have a clue. So it's almost like the uncertainty is across the board. So very curious to see kind of the progression of this story. Also very interested to see the progression of Bray Wyatt and where he's coming from. So a lot of little things to, take in. We're also, by the way, leading up to a match between Dexter Lumis and The Miz tomorrow on Monday Night Raw. Whereas Dexter Lumis does prevail, he will then become a contracted member of the Monday Night Raw roster. So, all the weird shit in WWE is just floating around the universe.
It's all out there. All out there for everybody to see. And Master, once you hear LA Knight sounds like The Rock. There's no going back. Fair enough. And talking about great things.
Hey, try listening to Von Wagner and say that's not Jack Swagger. All right, I'll do you one better on that one.
It's my buddy Von Wagner. That's my favorite new wrestler. Oh wait, Von Wagner. No, that's a different guy.
Von Swagger.
Von Swagger. I like Bong Swagger. That's even better. We keep this going. But we'll come back to you guys in just a moment, though, because we got to that point of the show where we want to let you know about other people's content here on OLE. We got a lot of great contributors here at our local establishment that are putting out a lot of great shows, many of which you can catch the replays of right here on Twitch. You can catch them as well on our YouTube channel, so make sure to subscribe to OLE, our local establishment, over on YouTube, as well as right here on Twitch. And what we got coming up this week for you guys, check it out. Here it is.
inside my head. It's like a fight back and I'll tweet it. I'm falling,
Frustrated, intoxicated, I know I'm losing myself. I can't take it anymore.
but I'm not done. I'm not done. I won't give up until the end.
But I won't fall. I'll stand away. So no, it's not.
And there you have it. That's what's coming up on our local establishment. Again, things pop up during the week at random as well, too, that might not be on that calendar. So always make sure you're staying tuned. A couple of big things coming out this week. Again, you saw their Mill Balls Mix is going to be on all of our socials, not so much on Twitch and YouTube. But if you check out the OLE social media, you'll find the short videos reviewing a lot of great things when it comes to that. Yes, don't forget today that we will have here on the OLE channel. That's myself, Ed, and Andre there doing the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. So yes, that is going to be coming up later today for you guys. And then also this coming Wednesday, it's season 2 of Beats and Beatdowns with myself and Carl Kerfeld. It's going to finally make its debut here on our local establishment. You can also check it out on the other channels as well too, whether it be Turnbuckle Studios or as well on the YouTube channel of the Video Bros Network. So that's going to be coming up this week. But then we got all the other exciting stuff as well too, the weekly stuff that you get to see on a regular basis. Again, I know, Parrish, you got taken over on Tuesday night. You missed out last week, but I know you're excited to get back in there this week. Hopefully get another big audience like they had on Tuesday night.
Huge. Yeah. No, and then goes on to say just how thankful and how amazingly what's the right word? Just appreciative we are of everyone who takes the time to come in and spend their time with us, grabbing that stool, sitting down, enjoying a little bit of our local establishment, whether it's any of the shows we have or if it's any of our individual channels as well. We appreciate you and the time that you are putting out for us. And that goes a long way because that makes us want to do this a lot more. It makes us want to give you nothing short of the best because we get nothing but the best of support from all of you. So once again, thank you for everyone for doing that. But yeah, I mean, as we're kind of nearing that 2-hour mark, I think this is kind of the, I mean, I know it is Christmas season, but it's also our wrap up time, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So,
you got to bring things to a wrap eventually. You know,
I mean,
we'd love to stay on screen all day with you guys. Like,
I mean, this is a present that definitely is wrapping up. So we are, well, we just want to
great show,
say,
boys.
Bassett,
2
thank you
hours
so
flew
much for
by.
coming in.
See you
Great
tomorrow, Bobby. Yeah, I will see you tomorrow, Basser, as well. But hey, you know what, Basser? Make sure to stick around, my man, because I'm sure that right now, as we speak, that and yes, I'll see you soon as well too, Andre. But as we speak right now, I know Chris Parrish is having a look to see who's out there right now to give a big old raid to, because we got some awesome people here and we want you guys to stick around at least for a few more moments as we raid another channel and go in there and give them a very Olay welcome. Go in there, say Olay to them and let them know who you are, why you're there, and that we sent you over as well too, because again, we're trying to reach out, we're trying to market. We want to make sure that everybody out there knows about our local establishment, and we want to show that support to other channels as well too. So if you guys stick around, hang out with us for just a couple more minutes. Parrish, who are we going to go raid here today?
I mean, it's football Sunday, right? There's only one person that brings the energy. He goes rogue in his own life because he goes rogue to make sure he provides some of the best energy and entertainment for you. Of course, we're going to raid our good old friend Heel Kevin today because, well, you know, today I just feel like helping out a brother. So, yeah, well, that's who we're going to go with too. And go 49ers. Screw you. Right now.
As we're prepping those raids, though, Parrish, why don't we let people know where can they find you this week?
Well, we'll be raiding in a little bit right now, so please don't go anywhere. Show him the love and support you've shown us. So
Right.
yeah, but where you can find me right now is definitely the information below right here. All right, that's actually, well, first off, we got to get this go 49ers bullshit out of here because I'm not having none of that. All right, my Saints are gonna, attempt to walk all over them. But with that being said, big drink, boom. You can follow me on Twitter at Chris Parrish. You can follow me on the Instagram at Chris.Parrish. You can follow me at the Twitch at the Chris Parrish. For people that did today, thank you so much. You can also follow me on the YouTube youtube.com/@logo, very important, Chris Parrish. That is where you can find me in all the social medias on our local establishment, all of them as well. As you can see me on Tuesdays with Astro Pizarro, possibly with Ed Fries, as we are taking over after we react to everything NXT. And then again, every single Sunday, we are busting out with all of you here at the bus station, because busting makes us feel good. And occasionally, every Mondays, you can watch myself and Carter Calafrell. We watch along to Monday Night Raw.
Those have been great. And you guys did the SmackDown one on Friday night. Fantastic show as well, too. As where you can find me, as always, you can find me here on Bustin' Out, but you can also find me on Thursday nights with my partner in crime, the man with the angelic voice who joined us earlier in the program and the chat there. That's Mr. Papa Spokes. We bring you all the MLW talk on our show, Fusion. Immediately following MLW Fusion over at Pro Wrestling TV, we go live and talk all about the action that went down. And this week, they're presenting Super Series, where you're going to see another title defense from the World Heavyweight Champion, Alexander Hammerstone, as he's taking on Bandito. And then in a four-way matchup, they're having a Luchadores elimination matchup to find out who the number one contender to the MLW Featherweight Champion will be. So again, make sure to check that out on Pro Wrestling TV, and then immediately join us here for the party on Fusion. You'll also be able to catch me on Saturday afternoons calling the shots with Pop Spokes over at Prairie Pro Wrestling, as we bring you a brand new match every single week. We just dropped it on Saturday. The Prairie Pro Wrestling Championship matchup, crowning the very first champion, is now available on YouTube. You can check out the ladder match between Sheik Akbar Shabazz and Cannonball Kelly in full capacity over there. Thank you, everybody, as always, for all the love and support you show. We couldn't do any of these shows without you guys.
Yeah, and we're prepping in 5 seconds. We'll be ready to kill Kevin, so show him the love and support you show us right now. And then for everyone who is still watching us over at the Video Bros YouTube page, we just want to say thank you, and we will close out the show as normal. But first, one last little quick video for Road